Today we will be talking about the case of Kimberly Keller Vialpando. Kimberly Vialpando was 35 years old when she disappeared from Pocatello, Idaho on May 6, 2000. No one has heard from or seen her since that day.
Kim was born in Tacoma, Washington on October 8, 1964. She grew up in Ingham, McCammon, and Pocatello with her older brother and younger sister. She attended Pocatello High School and she loved hair and makeup. She had a soft spot for animals, especially horses, and she had been married twice and divorced once. At the time of her disappearance, she worked full-time for American General Finance and was helping raise her two stepchildren. We identified the following events surrounding Kim's disappearance using publicly available case information. Kim was reportedly last seen on May 6, 2000 by two juveniles arguing with an unidentified man at Memorial Park. Her sister reported her missing on May 8th after Kim failed to show up to work or make contact with her family or friends. It was discovered that Kim did not have any of her belongings, including her purse, when she left her house on the night of her disappearance. Kim's vehicle was found on the 300th block of North Johnson Avenue on May 19, 2000. Local law enforcement conducted a 5-hour search of the Portneuf River from Memorial Park to American Falls on May 21, 2000. Reports indicated that search dogs hit in multiple spots just off the river, but there is no publicly available information on whether those spots were investigated further. Several members of Kim's inner circle, including her estranged husband, were brought in for questioning multiple times.
We know that Kim visited these three places on the day she disappeared: her residence on Quinn Road, her place of employment, and Memorial Park, where she had been seen arguing with the unidentified male. Close to 2 weeks later, on May 19, 2000, her vehicle was located on the 300 block of North Johnson. Located on this block is the Veterans Memorial Building, and just around the corner is Memorial Park. In 2016, Kim's missing persons profile was included in Idaho's first set of cold case cards. East Idaho Cold Case created these cards in partnership with the Idaho Department of Corrections. They were only released initially as commissary items for individuals incarcerated in Idaho's prisons. More recently, the cards have become available online to the public.
We believe her case didn't get proper attention for the following reasons. Kim had a reputation for being a bit of a wild child, especially as a teenager. Her first marriage seems to have been an impulsive decision because it appears to have been annulled shortly after the recorded marriage date. At the time of her disappearance, it was reported that she had a volatile relationship with both primary persons of interest. Although we are not sure what her choice of substance was, it is reported that Kim had a history of drug use and was possibly using at the time of her disappearance. In 1985, she was convicted of multiple burglary-related felonies, for which she was sentenced to 14 years. She only served 14 months of that sentence inside prison before being placed on probation.
These are the top 5 failures that we believe may have contributed to Kim's case going cold so quickly. The area where her vehicle was found continues and was a hot spot for police presence. Why did it take so long for law enforcement to locate her vehicle? Reports of the original search indicate that the search dogs hit in multiple locations. Were these hits adequately investigated? Did law enforcement officers focus on any other areas outside of the river? While it is easy to say that law enforcement showed bias, we also fell victim to confirmation bias in believing rumors because they matched the original suspect hypothesis. Knowing that everyone is susceptible to confirmation bias, no matter their training or education, has made us wonder how much it has led to Kim's case still not being solved. Our investigation has only located around a dozen news stories and social media posts around Kim and her case. Several posts about Kim were made by the same person. Why hasn't her case gotten more coverage? According to the current Bannock County Sheriff's data, there are currently 17 unsolved missing person cases in Bannock County. Out of these 17, only 4 of them occurred prior to Kim's disappearance, but none of them were close to the same time that Kim went missing. Was the Pocatello Police Department ill-equipped to handle these cases? Were there other crimes that required more resources, which took away from solving Kim's case? The first comment made by Lieutenant Finley on the day of the 5-hour search suggested that Kim just walked away, showing that law enforcement may have already created an unfair opinion about Kim. Kim's family has made it clear she would never leave her belongings or horses behind. We believe this biased comment, without a doubt, may have played a role in why her case went cold so quickly. The second comment was made around 2006, when Kim's case was reopened. However, it does not appear that the police were any closer to solving this case, and unfortunately, the case went cold again. The inconsistencies in these statements may show how quickly the public can be swayed by what the police publicly state.
We have identified 3 primary persons of interest based on the evidence and information we have collected. The first person of interest is Kim's rumored boyfriend at the time of her disappearance. For the purpose of this presentation, we will be referring to him as Hawk. He was a local business owner, rumored to have had a secret grow house in the basement of his business. According to reports that we have received, he was hot-tempered and a bit of an odd person. Because of his business, he was well acquainted with the mountainous areas surrounding Pocatello. Unfortunately, he died in 2009 before Kim's case could be solved. The second person of interest is Kim's estranged husband. For the purpose of this presentation, we will be referring to him as Frank. Frank found out about Kim's disappearance from her sister. Although they were separated at the time of her disappearance, they still shared all of their belongings. This resulted in Frank retaining ownership of their combined estate. We did have reports that Frank had a history of physical and emotional abuse. We do know that he was brought in for questioning multiple times and was subjected to numerous polygraphs. The final person of interest in this case is Kim herself. It is important to note that while we are listing her as a person of interest, we believe that the evidence suggests that it is more likely one of the other 2 who was involved in her disappearance. However, we have not seen any evidence suggesting that Kim did not leave town on her own volition, as indicated by reports made by others. If Kim did leave on her own accord, that leaves us with several questions. Knowing that she had a troubled past, could this have led her to walk away from all of her family and friends? Did her reported drug use cause her to do something reckless? Was her life in danger, so she chose to go into hiding? Obviously, the only person who has the answers to these questions is not here to answer them. However, that does not mean that this avenue should not be investigated further.
We have identified 4 places that need further investigation to close Kim's case. We know that law enforcement conducted a 5-hour search of the Portneuf River between Fremont Avenue and American Falls Reservoir, and that search dogs hit in multiple spots outside of the river. Hawk owned one of the businesses located inside the Monarch. We also know Kim's name was mentioned during a forensic investigation of the building's basement around 2018. Both male persons of interest had extensive knowledge of the mountainous area surrounding Pocatello. We chose these 2 locations specifically because they would require very little travel time, and could easily be traveled without raising suspicion. The first of the location is the Trail Creek City Creek recreational area. For those who don't know, these two recreational areas connect in multiple spots, leaving a vast space for a body to be buried and left undisturbed. The other location is the Black Rock recreational area. While smaller than the Trail Creek City Creek area and owned mainly by private citizens, there are enough hidden trails that are easily accessible by ATVs or small wheeled vehicles. Although we did not add it on this slide, American Falls Reservoir was another location that we discussed, specifically the part that is connected to tribal land, because one of the persons of interest did have ties to that area.
Our unanswered Freedom of Information Act and uncooperative witnesses and investigators have left us with several questions. These are the top 6 that we keep circling back to. Why haven't there been any public statements made by Kim's family or friends? Was DNA ever collected that could be used to create a genetic profile that could later be used to compare against unidentified remains? Could her remains be sitting in a lab unidentified because there is no genetic profile for her? Why didn't we get a denial response from the Pocatello Police Department concerning our Freedom of Information Act? Who were the minor witnesses, and what did they actually witness? And lastly, why wasn't her case covered more by the media?
Because we believe that Kim's case deserves to be solved, we have identified these 5 factors that could increase the likelihood of closing Kim's case. Number 1, a new set of eyes is needed to comb through the evidence and case files collected at the time of her disappearance. Number 2, the media coverage concerning this case must be increased and improved. The rumors posted on a particular social media page are causing significant damage to the solvability of this case. Number 3, if a DNA profile has not been created, it is imperative that this get done immediately. Doing so will allow area forensic labs to compare her genetic profile against current and future unidentified remains. While we have respected the family's wishes and not pushed for contact with them, they're the only ones that can help create this genetic profile. They are also the only ones who will have the intimate details about Kim's life that is needed to solve this case. A new set of eyes on this case and a genetic profile may result in a more conclusive suspect profile and could ultimately lead to Kim's case being closed.
It is important to remember that Kim still has living family members who deserve to know what happened to her on May 6, 2000. We hope our efforts in investigating this case can help them find closure. We want to note that most of our information was gathered using generic internet and social media searches. We also accessed several public archives to find information on this case. We want to give special thanks to the 3 individuals who came forward to help us better understand who Kim was and what her life was like prior to her disappearance.
As we continue to investigate Kim's case, we ask that the public also help Kim's family receive closure. If anyone has any information regarding the disappearance of Kimberly Keller Vialpando, we encourage you to contact one of the following numbers. The Pocatello Police Department number is 208-234-6100. You can also report a tip to the Pocatello Police using their online tip system. Idaho State Police have a cold case tip line. The number for that is 1-844-847-4040. Kimberly's case number with the Pocatello Police Department is 00P09183.
We have created an email account dedicated solely to tips about Kim's case. This email will also be linked to a YouTube channel where we will post videos and updates on Kim's case. Any comments made on these videos will be monitored through this email account. Thank you for your time, and again, if you know anything about the disappearance of Kimberly Keller Vialpando, please reach out to Pocatello Police Department so that her friends and family can finally get answers.